Guys, so today we will learn. I'll just try to show for the new officers who join for first time and have to do annual inspection of dry chemical powder on board. So I'll show how to do the inspection, annual inspection, what all things to check, how to open, how to dismantle this extinguisher. So we'll go step by step. So there is this pin. I'd like to show you. There's this pin, we have to remove it and to release some pressure. Okay, we need to open it. So this could be done by the help of a screwdriver. So so here we open. So it will release the pressure, and when this cover is out, will help this to come out. Okay, so now we have to open this cover. So for this we have to use American spanner or the small pipe wrench or wrench spanner, whatever you would like to call. So for this we have, this is the American spanner, we will use this. So you have to just put this spanner, and with the help of this spanner you have to open it. So I'll just open it. So once you have loosened it up with the spanner, you can open it by hand like this. The one thing you have to be very careful when you are doing the annual servicing on board is that this clamp, this should not be pressed. There should be some locking arrangement, some safety arrangement in place. Like here we have an arrangement in place so that it doesn't touch. Some extinguisher will not have that. In that case you have to be very careful. You have to put some wooden piece or some other obstruction so that it doesn't meet, because if it meets, the CO2 cartridge that is inside will puncture and there will be the release of the dry chemical powder. Okay, so we are almost opened. Okay, so when you have loosened it up and you are ready to open, you just take it, keep shaking and keep picking it up so it will come out. As you can see, it is coming out. Okay, so this is out. So now this is very important. This is the CO2 cylinder which you have to open and weigh, and if the loss of this CO2 cartridge is, the loss of the weight is more than 10% of its original weight, then as required by the regulations, you have to renew it with the new ones. If it is not lost more than 10% of its original weight, then it could be fixed back, and you can fix it back. That's not a problem. So now important things is, so once you have taken this out, you have to inspect this cartridge, CO2 cartridge. You have to take out and you have to weigh it. And another important thing is, while you are putting back this tube, you make sure that this rubber outing is not removed. If it is removed, then it will be exposed and it will be choked by the powder inside, and the extinguisher will not work very properly. Another thing you have to check is the discharge tube. It should be clear. Discharge tube, you have to check if it is clear. If there is any obstruction, you have to remove those obstructions. So now we will open the CO2 cartridge, but before that I'd like to show that what we have to check inside the extinguisher, which most of us knows, that we have to check if there is any caking or any moisture inside. And if there is any moisture or caking, you have to change the powder. If there is caking, you can shake it and make it loose, and if it is okay, you can use the same powder. But if it is not okay, you need to change the powder. So how you know there is caking? Caking means like because of moisture, the powder has become hard, and it has become in shape of cake. But here we can see, you just have to move it, shake it, and you have to see if the powder is moving freely or not. If it is moving freely, that means there is no caking, and if it is not, that means there is caking. So you just shake it and you see if there is any caking or not. If there is caking, you change the powder. If there is not, well and good. Okay guys, so now we will see how to remove this CO2 cartridge, which is the main part of this extinguisher, because of which we can fire the extinguisher. As you can see, when we press this clamp, it punctures the CO2 cartridge, and because of the release of CO2, this the powder goes inside this tube, and finally it comes to the discharge tube and fires on the fire. So now we'll remove the CO2 cartridge. So how to remove this is that you take a shifter or a shifting spanner and you open this. Okay, so I'll open and we will go on the next step then. Okay, so you can see I have a shifter here, so I have fixed it and now I will open it. Okay, so you have to loosen it up and then you can see, you can open the CO2 cartridge. Okay, so here it goes. You have to check if there is any puncture here, or there is any puncture, obviously you have to renew it, and you have to check the weight. Here is the information you will find. So you have to just check the weight. Suppose if the weight is 0.98 and if there is more than 10% of that 0.98 is lost, then you need to change this CO2 cartridge with a new one, because you cannot refill it, you have to replace it with the new one. Okay, so after checking the weight, here I am not checking the weight right now, just to show you off. Here I have opened this. So once you have checked the weight, you found it is okay, then you have to put it back. So putting back is very easy. You just hold it and you just screw it back. You see, like this, you have to just screw it back. You have to make sure it is well back in the place, the threads are sitting properly. Okay, now so I have fixed it back. It is back in place. So this is checked. Once you are satisfied your weight of the CO2 cartridge is okay, not the weight loss is not more than 10%, it is okay. You have checked the discharge tube, it's okay. You have checked the container, you have shaken it, and you found that it is freely flowing. That means there is no caking, so it is okay. So now time to box it up. You know, boxing it up is one of the most difficult part, but there's a technique by using which it can be done very easily. So the technique is, when you put back this unit, you need to constantly keep shaking it, and apply the pressure from the top. It will take some time, but it will surely go in. You have to keep shaking the extinguisher container also. You have to keep shaking and you have to keep applying the force here. So I'll just do that.